Hello vinyl community, Alex back again with another video. Bringing you a vinyl collection update for this one. I haven't done one of these for quite some time, obviously because my intake of vinyl has slowed right down. So yeah, this is going to be a fun little video. We've got a nice little mixture here for you guys. Some of these go quite far back, like I'd say, well, one of these is from Father's Day, so that kind of gives you an inkling of how far back these finds go. Anyway, let's get into this video because we've got a decent size, I'd say decent size stack to get through with this one, so let's get into it. Kicking things off with the new release from Becky Hill. Now before you all click off this video or roast me in the comments about why I have Becky Hill's new album on vinyl, basically when I was DJing in the local club here, as a lot of these songs were coming out around the time I was DJing in the clubs, a lot of these songs would be in my regular rotation in my sets. So a lot of these songs would just stick with me, and eventually become what you would probably call earworm songs or guilty pleasures, I guess.
Earworm songs?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
A song that catches your ear.
That sounds like a nasty illness.
Or Jenny. Anyway, I opted for the black and white splattered vinyl of this one, which I think looks pretty cool, if I'm honest, and matches the album cover pretty well. Yeah, I get it if you're not into Becky Hill. I think she's got a really good voice. Really suits the style of music she sings to, and the last two tracks on here, Disconnect and Right Here, are two of my favourites on this album. They're more drum and bass tracks than anything else, so that's what really caught my ear to this one, I guess, which I've been really getting back into my drum and bass a lot this year, so really happy to have that one. Next one, this is the one I talked about, which was from Father's Day. This is one I had in my old collection before I had to sell a lot of stuff, and my two beautiful daughters bought me this for Father's Day. This is Enter the Wu-Tang from Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah, you can see the cover's really glossy. Does make it prone to fingerprints, but of course that doesn't bother me because they wipe off pretty easily because of the glossy cover. And you're about to see that this is the yellow vinyl edition of this one, which this actually sounds a lot better than my old copy ever did. I don't know what was wrong with the pressing that I had before, but it didn't sound all that great, which is probably why I didn't listen to it a whole lot. But this one actually sounds really good. I don't know where it's pressed or anything like that, but really good album. Super happy to have it back in my collection. Yeah, an album for true hip-hop fans right here. I'm not saying you have to love it as a hip-hop fan, doesn't even have to be in your top 10, but I think if you're a hip-hop fan, you've listened to that one at least once in your lifetime, or in my case, multiple times in my lifetime. Such a good album. Next up, we have the new one from Imagine Dragons, another band I should say I've been really getting back into a lot this year, mainly because of on Disney Plus, they've got I'd say documentary of sorts called Live in Vegas. So it's sort of a live show, and every now and again they do little snippets of like behind the scenes, putting the show together, clips from interviews and things like that from the band.
I scared the shit out of myself, sorry.
So yeah, really happy to have this one. There's lyrics on the inside of the gatefold there. There's quite a few different editions of this release. I just opted for the standard Coke bottle coloured, or what they're calling the Coke bottle coloured vinyl. Yeah, really good album from them. With their sort of new sound that they've gone for. Personally, the last track on here, what's it called? Fire in These Hills. I could take or leave that track depending on the day, but the rest of this album's pretty solid for me. Yeah, again, potentially a top 10 album of the year for me. So really stoked to have that in the collection. Yeah, just fun times. I would love to get more Imagine Dragons back in the collection, particularly their first album, because that's one I had and probably still my favourite album from them. But it's fun to listen to the new one and have that. I've really been enjoying listening to that one. Another one I've really been enjoying listening to is the new one from Glass Animals, I Love You So Fucking Much.
Oh, good.
That's the name of the album.
Still.
It's their 4th studio album. I've been listening to them for quite some time, and every time they put out a new album, I'm always checking it out. This is the double vinyl audiophile pressing of this one. So it's, instead of the standard editions which are pressed on 1 LP, this is pressed on 2. It's just on standard black. You've got liner notes and things on the inside there, and inserts and things like that. And it really goes well with the other Glass Animals album that I have, How to Be a Human Being, because that's also a double LP version of that one. But I'd love to get their other two in my collection. I never had their first album, but I did have their album Dreamland. Again, would love to get them back in the collection. In case you're not familiar with Glass Animals, they're kind of, well, they're an English-based, I'd say indie pop kind of band, is the best way I could describe it. Yeah, give it a listen. You might enjoy it, you might dislike it, but again, we all have different tastes, don't we? But they are one of my favourite bands, so I'm gonna listen to the new album when it came out, and that one's been a lot of fun to spin. This next album, I'm gonna put this out there. If I had discovered this album when it came out in 2023, it probably would have been my favourite album of the year, because I haven't stopped listening to this since I discovered it. And that's, I've tried everything but Therapy Part 1 by Teddy Swims. If you're into blue-eyed soul or just soul and funk in general, he kind of brings a modern sound. His voice really suits the style he does, in my opinion. Particularly on tracks like Lose Control and The Door, which are on here, which in my opinion really sum up this album pretty well. Yeah, he has an incredible voice in my opinion, and yeah, this absolutely takes over like the #1 spot for my album of the year for 2023, which I didn't think would be possible at this point, but this is the 2024 reissue. This is the 2024 reissue of this one, which I'm not bothered about. It's a really fun album to listen to. I don't think this is, yeah, since I got this, it hasn't really come off the spindle, so it's definitely got a lot of plays, and we'll get a lot more going forward. The soundtrack to Deadpool and Wolverine, really good soundtrack. If you're, well, even if you're a Marvel fan, you'll probably get this one. I saw the movie opening weekend with some of my friends. We all enjoyed the film. The soundtrack really suits the movie. If you haven't seen the film, I'm not going to show you the track listing in case you don't want spoilers, because I know that one of my friends in particular, he didn't want to know the track listing going into the movie, which is understandable. But there's the back cover. You've got Hugh Jackman there as Wolverine with Deadpool in his claws, and then if we turn it back over to the front, you can see Deadpool with Wolverine in his swords there. Open it up, you get more Deadpool and Wolverine action. And then this one's pretty interesting because I'm not going to show you the inner sleeves because again there's spoilers to the film on the inner sleeves, so I'm not going to show you them. But really interesting here, you have the red and black vinyl for Deadpool. I think it's called a butterfly effect vinyl or colour print or something like that. But you've got one for the Deadpool colours, and then you've got another one here for Wolverine's colours, which are obviously blue and yellow. I think it's pretty cool. It's definitely one of the more interesting coloured vinyls I now have in my collection. Ugh, just said vinyls. Can't believe that. I can't believe that. It's definitely, out of all the records I have in my collection that's on coloured vinyl, this is definitely one of the more interesting ones. Super stoked to have this in the collection. Yeah, it's another one for the soundtrack collection, and it is like a compilation of sorts, because obviously if you guys know Marvel, if you're familiar with how they did Guardians of the Galaxy and how they've done the first two Deadpool movies, it's not the score to the movie, it's the actual songs that they used in the film. So that one's interesting to me, had to grab that. Next one is the new one from Alice Coltrane. This is the Live at Carnegie Hall concert. My first Alice Coltrane on vinyl. Never owned anything from her before, although I am very familiar with her music. This is the first time I've grabbed anything from her on vinyl. Very nice artwork on this one, on the inside of the gatefold. Again, this is a double album, but each side of this has one track. You can see there it's on Impulse. So track 1 is 15 minutes, track 2 is 14 minutes, or 14 and a half minutes, and then you've got the second two tracks, so track 3 and 4. Track 3 is her cover of Africa by her husband John Coltrane, which is 28 minutes, and then track 2 is 21 and a half minutes. So really nicely spread out. I think if it was on one LP it wouldn't sound anywhere near as good. It's definitely it's a good sounding pressing if you're contemplating getting this. It's also a very well recorded live show. I know some people in the vinyl community aren't always fans of live albums, and I get it, but this is a really good one if you've been on the fence about getting it. Definitely, I would recommend it. And then you get this little insert as well, which has the whole story in there of well, I haven't read it, but I'm guessing it tells a backstory of Alice Coltrane and how she recorded the album and how she came to perform at this performance at Carnegie Hall. But yeah, I definitely need to sit down and read this because there's a lot in here. But I will at some point. Just not right now. Anyway, really happy that I grabbed that one. Super stoked.
Oh my god.
Spin that one again. What now? You went, oh my god, what's up?
Just film your bloody video, would you? Taking forever as it is.
Okay, next up, little 7-inch single. This one, I won from a contest for in the record store, because I actually went in to talk to my friend who runs it, because we're going to do something at my day job involving vinyl, and we're sort of teaming up together. But while we were in there was a few other people in the store. They had some unsleeved singles, so they were giving them away to the first person to guess the song from the intro. and I was the first person to guess the song from the intro. So the single that I won completely at random is The Shadows with The Stranger, and then Man of Mystery is on the back, which was the theme to the Edgar Wallace film series. Now, the reason I'm not showing this in my 7-inch singles collection is because it's a recent addition to the collection. Also, I kind of somewhere along the lines must have miscounted how many singles I was adding to my collection, because when I logged them all into Discogs, I have a folder for 7-inch singles and it tells me how many there is, and if I was to add up 30 singles to the number of episodes I'd done, the numbers didn't match. Like I was missing one. So somewhere I must have done 29 singles by mistake, like miscounted, so that one's sort of going to be a bonus one, but really stoked to have that. Anyway, I picked up a major one of my wants list. Finally, this has been such a really good year for me for picking up albums by Nina Simone. This is the third one I found this year. This is Baltimore, one of my personal favourites from her. Obviously a later one. This was from 1978 originally. I don't think this is a first press. I think this is a earlier reissue. Again, it's on CTI. Cover's got a tiny bit of water damage in one of the corners, but this is a US press and it sounds incredible. I'd say VG plus, maybe VG in a couple of spots here and there, but incredible album from Nina Simone. If you're a fan of Nina like I am, you probably know this one pretty well. It's got like, it's got the title track itself has a sort of reggae influence to it. This has her cover of Rich Girl by Hall & Oates on here as well. Really, really good album from Nina. Happy with that one. Got some 12-inch singles here to show you. So I have the Emotions with You're the Best. This is a promo copy, which I'm happy about. Aurora, You and Me Tonight. And The System, The Pleasure Seekers. So the Aurora one and the Emotions one I listened to when I found them, because I wasn't familiar. Obviously The System I knew, because I'm very familiar with The System's music, but these two ones I listened to on Spotify before making sure I grabbed them, and really stoked with those ones there, so happy to have them in the collection. Next one, this is a compilation from I think the late 60s, early 70s ish, but it's Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. The compilation is called Dancing in the Street, which when I first saw it I thought it was like just a reissue of the album Dancing in the Street, but this is kind of more like a greatest hits. But really good find. The cover itself isn't great. I mean, someone's written on it their name and stuff like that, and the vinyl is really good shape on this. And I never see Martha Reeves stuff anywhere. It's almost like it's obsolete. So super happy with that one. Happy to add that to the collection. Next one I grabbed is another compilation. This one's a greatest hits compilation from Roy Orbison. Greatest hits. Unfortunately, Oh Pretty Woman is missing from this one, but it's got Uptown, it's got Only the Lonely, Evergreen, Candyman's on here. Some really good stuff still. And yeah, much like Nina Simone has been a good year for me picking up Nina Simone stuff. I've picked up a lot of rock and roll this year, which I never thought I would do. Like picking up rock and roll stuff and adding it to the collection, but it's been one of them years, you know, where I've just got into a style of music I never imagined getting into. Alright, next up is another one that I used to have and finally have it back in the collection. This is The Police with Zenyatta Mondatta. Their album from 1980. I think it's their third album. But obviously the big tracks on here are Don't Stand So Close to Me and Dee Do 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 Dee Da 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 Da. One of my favourite bands from the 80s. Had to grab that. Super stoked with that one. I think it's actually in nicer shape than my old copy was, which is insane. And again, same lines as The Police. Had this in my old collection and purged it, and happy to get it back. Is ABBA the Album, which has Name of the Game, Thank You for the Music, Take a Chance on Me is on here. I really like the opening track, Eagle, to this one as well. This is a 78 or 79 reissue of this album, but really stoked to have that back in the collection here. And the final thing I'm going to show you, I'll leave you with this one. This is a hip hop album. If you're a hip hop fan, you'll probably like this. I first discovered this particular, well, I'll show you the album first. It's DJ Spinner, Here to There. So I first discovered DJ Spinner through a series here on YouTube called Crate Diggers. They did a special episode on Jay Dilla's record collection that he featured in the episode, and he's also done a lot of work with Stevie Wonder. And this is a really, really good album. If you've not checked it out and you're a hip hop fan, definitely give it a listen. There's quite a few features on here, but no one too obvious. It's more of an underground album to sort of bring out the more underground hip hop and R&B singers of the world. Yeah, really, really like this one. I had it on CD for the longest time, and yeah, finally upgraded to vinyl. Original pressing. I think it's the only pressing of this, to my knowledge. I know they haven't reissued it, but still a pretty cheap album. If you're interested in getting a copy once you've checked it out. Anyway, that was DJ Spinner's Here to There album. So that's everything that I've added to my collection over the last few months. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you're new here. It really helps me out. I'm trying to get to 400 subs by the end of this year. We're so close. And also make sure the bell is switched on and you press the button for all. That way you never miss when I upload a video. And with all that, I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.